Part of the reason Carl was so taken with the church is because it had lots of space where concerts could take place, as we've already seen. They both loved hosting concerts, plays, and other activities at the church. One neighbor, Walid Howrani, is a pianist and composer. He played for the church and became a friend, and he has consented so kindly to perform for us this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. I am too honored to participate in this memorial. The first time I met Carl was on the city bus. I used to take the bus a lot, and I did too. And so sometimes we'd just happen to be on the bus and we would socialize and tell stories to one another. A few years ago, I went to a lecture by a piano teacher who was talking about her students who were all ranged from the age of 50 to 91. And she was talking about the virtues of teaching the elderly. So I got so inspired, and as I was taking the bus home, Carl was on the bus. And I told him, he said, "How are you?" I said, "I'm so inspired. I feel like writing a few pieces about the elderly," and I explained why. So I started writing, and I wound up writing 29 short pieces. They're about a minute each, with titles like March of the Hip Replacements, and Bifocal Boogie Woogie, and Menopause Minuet. So he said, "Why don't you write one about the prostate?" I said, "Okay." And I wrote one called Prostato Pizzicato. And I used to go to this party at his home, and unfortunately, when he started having some memory issues, was the last party I went to, and I saw him walking so slowly, and so I decided to write a piece, and I called it 1.5 Step Drag. And you know, the drag actually is one of the forms of ragtime, but it's very slow. So then when I communicated with Tamara for this event, I asked her if she wanted me to play only like sad pieces or maybe something more happy, and she said, "No, Carl wouldn't have wanted us to be mopey, so you can have a selection." So I'm going to play 4 of my sweet Geriatrics. The first call that is dedicated actually to Carl and Tamara. It's called 1.5 Step Drag. Then the next one is called Peppy Palpitations. And the third is Diagnosis Dirge. And we will end on a happy note, and it's going to be the Hormonal Horror.
Somebody who said goodbye to his prostate in 2000. I'm going to have to follow up on his piece there. I'd like to see what he did to it. I know what it did to me. Anyway, no problem. Well, we're at a point in our afternoon gathering where I think it would be very, very appropriate to introduce Carl's two wonderful children. Carl was a great father. Carl and I, on many a Saturday, would drive from our residence out by Strawberry Lake, Baseline Lake. We'd go into the football games, and whilst we drove, we would talk about life. And I'll tell you, those kids came up alive. He had a lot to say. He was very, very proud. Very proud of me. I can't say anything more about that, other than to ask the two of you to come up and introduce yourselves, and perhaps say a few words to the audience.
I'm John David Carlson, and I'm not good at public speaking, so this was written last night. You know, that's when the best inspiration comes, right? When you're at your absolute worst. Like, that's it. And I hope it happens. I still love it. When we were, it was difficult to understand Carl sometimes. We weren't particularly close growing up, and just because he was always so busy doing so much, and it's really kind of hard to keep up with a racehorse sometimes. And I was kind of a literal person, or I was a Roman. This is what happens, and that's not what happens. And he was theoretical. He was a Greek. He was his mind was it's out there somewhere. But we did have some really good memories together, which I appreciate. One of those was we went on sabbatical in 1979, and right before that he fell and injured his shoulder, and this was like a time when the sabbatical was 5 months in Japan to study their educational system, because at that time, they were the Superman of the world, and they were doing everything right, and while we weren't. They were studying 20 hours a day, had perfect grades, and made perfect cars, and lived perfect lives, and we needed to understand and understand what they were doing right. So, anyways, it was for all this an excuse to just go around the country for another 4 months and just kind of check out what was elsewhere in the world. And one of the places we stopped was Thailand, and he went in and he'd gone to a couple of big hospitals, and they couldn't fix his shoulder, and so he went to this little tent, and this 4-foot tall 70-year-old lady he went in with, and it was a Thai massage. I was 9 years old at the time, and I heard some screaming like, and this went on for quite a while. I just called the gendarmes or something. He walked out and said, "Oh, I'm ready to go." And so he was he was just kind of ready to delve into anything and try anything new. And it was really kind of his, he just wanted to taste and experience everything in life. There was an article of no Fox, no ferry, no TV for the Rinnes. We're in Ann Arbor News, and we didn't have a TV growing up. Family was unique. But a couple years later, we got a TV. It was the best investment, actually in retrospect, but he bought one of the first VCRs that they made, and of course my dear sister and I had a fight over the remote control, which didn't end very well. He bought one of the first laptops, one of those things. Well, it was a K-Pro, there's a picture right on the board. Yeah, it was a K-Pro 2 word processor, and it was the top flipped down and had a little thing. So he wanted to be at the forefront of the technology and stuff, what was going on, what was happening, and this is before the internet and all that. He developed one of the things he spent a lot of time on. Unfortunately, didn't go to fruition for a variety of reasons. But there was a skills ink system. It's kind of a training system. There's a little write-up, and there's a model on the back. Spent a lot of time on that, and I think it's really kind of an inventive process, and it has a lot of potential. We may see it later on in the future and say, well, yeah, I know somebody else that did that exact same thing. So maybe one day. But let's see. We did a few canoeing trips, which were really nice. The Pine Ensemble and 4-day Huron down the Huron River. come from Flint. And I just remember one night he was my savior, my hero. We stopped at this campsite, and I think every mosquito in the county was lying in wait, because as soon as we stepped off the canoe, and I swear they all went to me. So, I was like, well, let's keep heading on out. And he said, no, it's dark. It's dark. It's gonna take too much time. So he was kind of stoic, and sometimes, just really knew how to play with the hand that was dealt to him. And we did share some really good memories. One of my I had friends that were mechanically inclined. I wasn't, but somehow I had gotten two dirt bikes, 1970 and 71 Honda 350, and half the parts are broken off of both of them. And so I just I rebuilt the engine and put the parts together, and I didn't know what I was doing. Just whatever looks best. Well, yeah, this looks like a first better solid Uzi. So I built a bike and it ran for a while, and we hopped on the back and we cruised down the road at 45 miles an hour. And it's like, wow, okay, well, we had a lot of guts. more than that, I guess I was scared than this. Maybe because I was in the front, And then I had a second bike for a while. It was a Honda 750, and it was it's a big one. It had a big wraparound leather fairing and potential to carry side bags and stuff. And I think it was kind of like, I don't know, a moment in his life. And one day he just he said, yeah, I just kind of I want to go around why don't we just take off today? Why don't we get on that bike and let's take off and go across country? Just forget about it all. Let's just do it. I think there's a sign on this house, quote from the Jake Morning Star or something. It was it's also a Nike logo, but anyways, I thought it was crazy, but today, I was like, I wish I'd done that, maybe not cross country, but, could have gone to, the $100 hamburger